Well, hello everyone. How's everybody doing on this Sunday, fun day? It's only a couple days to Christmas. I'm going to start the show off with a special song. Now, everyone knows that I love playing songs by guests of mine, and we had Dennis Smith here a little while ago, and he talked about his CD. He has a 10-song CD, and one of the songs was written by a brother named Anthony Porti, and I'm going to kick the show off with this song. Because I'm hoping that everything said is received the right way. This song is called Blessings and Honor. Hey, give me some feedback. Give me some feedback. And first of all, let me know if you were able to hear that. If you were able to hear that song, because I want to make sure that you can hear Anthony's song. Secondly, let me know if you can hear me. Hey, Ola. Hey, Joyce. Hey, let me know. Can you hear that song? And let me know if you're able to hear me. Okay. All right. Let's get ready to, as I say, rumble. We have an important show. A really, I don't know how important it is. I mean, it's going to be an interesting show, and it's something that I kind of wanted to do because any of you guys who watched last week, and I want to thank you for watching last week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Particularly if you stayed for the whole show. It was a news segment show, so it was an hour worth of news, and I got lots of feedback. You know, some people like the news, some people love the news, but even though they like the news, you know, the news can sometimes be a little bit depressing. So this week I wanted to do something a little more different, you know, take a little different angle. So I'm doing something regarding black men, high value black men. So hello, 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 beautiful people. The relationship guru Kevin Samuels, I don't know if any of you have heard of him, has made quite a name for himself with that concept of high value man. He counsels men and women on relationships, but what the buzz is all about is his discussion with women, particularly when they ask how they can get a high-value black man. My guest and co-host this evening is Miriam Oda Webb, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this concept of high-value black man. In fact, if everything goes okay, we're going to have a three-part segment, 3 different segments. This week, it'll be me and her kind of laying the groundwork for it and literally, you know, talking about the definitions of high value black man in the lens of Kevin Samuels and also through the lens of, you know, what it actually means. And we're going to also kind of dive into how we think a high value black man, how we think that concept should actually be defined. We're going to also touch on high value black women. And for the next segment, maybe next week, maybe we'll bring some men on board, bring them in the studio, have dialogue with them and talk about it. Maybe for the third part, maybe we'll have the men and the women. The reason why I wanted to bring Miriam on, not only because she's my niece, but also because she's a 20-something person. So we have generational differences that I'd love to explore what the differences are. Miriam is pretty, articulate, educated, well-spoken, and moral. And I'm going to read the scripture because everybody knows I start off with the scripture of the day, and then I'm going to read a quick bio, take a quick break, or what I hope to be a break, and then bring her on. I always start my show off with the scripture for today is from 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 11. And it says, "Nevertheless, in the Lord, woman is not independent of man, nor is man independent of woman. For as woman came from man, so also man is born of woman. But everything comes from God." I just kind of wanted to start it with that, to just keep everything in the right context and hoping that, anything said today, no one takes it the wrong way. Keep in mind, it's our opinion, it's my opinion, it's going to be Miriam's opinion, and if you have an opinion, I have a comment section. Please feel free to say something in there, and if possible, we will actually tag it and show it and maybe speak to it. But the scripture meant, simply put, that both men and women need each other. We both need each other. They're interdependencies. We should be working on humbling ourselves to one another to become one instead of fighting against one another and pointing the finger. Because pointing the finger, as everyone knows, what does it do? It only breeds division. And what we don't need is division. So I'm going to take a quick break. Then I'm going to read Miss Webb's bio, Miss Oda Webb's bio, and bring her back. This song is by Garrett Body, who's a friend of Voices of Change, and it's called Help Me Find a Way, featuring vocalist Trey Carter.
Not my home, no. 'Cause my home has streets that I paved with gold. So why do I ever try to fit in? Keep circling back time and time again. Help me to find my way. I've been lost along the way. Help me to find a way to stay. Don't wanna run, don't wanna walk away. Help me to find my way. Help me to find my way. Help me to find a way to stay.
Hey, I want y'all to talk to me. Joyce, thanks for that feedback. Could anybody hear that song, and are you having trouble hearing me at all? Hello, Joyce, Miriam, Romaine. Give me some feedback. Did you hear that song just playing, and can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to read Miriam's bio. So excited about reading this and excited about her. Miriam is a territorial sales manager and top sales representative for the #1 pharmaceutical company in the world. We can imagine what that is, particularly, with the vaccine. But anyway, Miriam comes to us with 9 years of sales experience with a special concentration in interpersonal communication, persuasion, and human interaction. Miriam received her bachelor's degree in communications and culture at Indiana University and currently resides in Alexandria, Virginia with her husband and 2 boys. Please help me welcome my niece, Miriam.
Hello.
Hello, Miriam. I wanted to know, can you hear me?
It's kind of going in and out again.
It's still going in and out.
Like,
It's buffering. Okay, you guys. Miriam is named after me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you guys, let me know if you're hearing me buffering or if you're hearing me fluently. I need to
So should
know.
I leave and come back maybe?
No. I'm gonna ask. I heard it this time. I heard it. Can you hear me fluently? Because we're getting ready to talk a little bit. I can clear. Thank you. Thank you. Love the feedback. Okay, Miriam. So, as you know, we're here today to talk about high value men. And when I came to you,
Heck yeah.
you
So
said
you were
something
still going
interesting.
like in and out, and I wonder if I should
I am?
Yeah, at least on my end. Should I exit and come back in?
Mm,
It's on my end only.
because Joyce said she can hear you both. Okay, you go out again and we're going to come back in.
All right.
Okay, the only reason why we're trying this, we're doing a little gymnastics with this, is because I was trying to do a little something. It's garbled. Mary Makiba, is both garbled or one garbled? I'm going in and out. Man, I've never had any audio problems with this. Okay. Miriam,
Yeah.
you hear it still garbled, huh? I hear
I can
something.
still hear you. Maybe we can just kind of go and see if it kind of clears up.
Both are garbled? Okay, let me ask this. What are you on? Are you on a cell phone? Are you on a PC? What are you on?
I'm on a phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
You just cleared it. Whatever you did before worked just fine.
Clicking and garbled. I can hear that clicking. Okay, so we're gonna have to do something with this.
Try another phone. Hold on, give me a second.
Would you have a PC or a laptop at all?
Say again?
Would you have a PC or a laptop?
I do, but it just came in perfectly. There we go. There we go. I don't know what just happened.
I don't know. Okay.
I was like, hello?
Okay, we're going to try to do this again, and I'm going to try to play that brother's song again since no one was able to hear it. I'll play it again sometime in between our conversation. But we're going to start talking about high value man. Okay, so I have a couple definitions. Now I hear kind of an echo. I have a couple definitions of high value man. I've never had a problem with this. Are you hearing me like double?
You sound perfect on my end now.
Okay. The definitions that I have of high value man. Did you have any at all, Miriam, before I get started?
So you mean personally or based off of Kevin Samuels?
We're going to do both. Okay. So first we're going to do Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
Then we're going to do kind of generally what the definition is. And then you hear double on me. I do too, Joyce.
And what, I don't know, for me, you sound perfect. So I don't know what's going on.
Wait a minute. This is driving me to drink. Okay, okay. I'm playing with the stereo. Now how is it sounding? Joyce, thank you. I need your feedback. Am I sounding double bubble again? Yeah, I can hear it. The audio is mumbled. Okay. I have never had a problem on StreamYard with the audio. Let me see. Let's take this off. Okay. Now tell me how it's sounding. Okay. I want to make sure that you can hear it because this is going to be I still hear it. Dang it. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Okay, so what I have, give me Miriam, give me Kevin Samuels.
So he has what's called Hybrid Six Principles.
Okay, six principles.
Number one is the money. So anyone who has man has to have at least $10,000 a month, and that is in the Atlanta area. So they said if you live in like New York or super expensive area, adjust the cost or the amount. Number two, you have to make that amount of money over the length of 5 years. So there is some consistency to make sure it can continue to live life down. Number 3, he has to have group acceptance by other high value men. So other high value men have to also see him as a high value expectant. Number 4, he has to have a broad network with other high value men. Number 5, he has to have visibility. His job would have to have visibility. So the way he worded it was, someone says they're CEO of a company, you kind of have an idea of how much money they make. But if you just say, I'm an entrepreneur, that could be, $5 a month to, $2 million. So a little bit of visibility in terms of his title. And then the final one is utility. So useful for the group and other people. So he can't just be a selfish person. He has to be able to give to his group as well as to others.
Yeah, that's about it. Did he quantify the amount? Did you say $10,000 a month, or did you not quantify it?
Yeah, that was number 2.
Number 2.
That was number 1, and it was
okay.
In the Atlanta area.
Okay, which is as a rule of thumb, Atlanta probably has a lower cost of living than other places. Mm-hmm. Like for you, than the DC area, or maybe New York or somewhere. So that makes sense. And I am hearing this. This is driving me crazy. But anyway, okay. So the basics that I have for high value men, and this is kind of a general definition. It says it didn't really quantify an amount, but they figured he was well-to-do. But it says he is emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
He has purpose.
Yes.
He takes care of himself. He has high self-esteem.
Yes.
He is assertive.
Absolutely.
He knows power dynamics. Check. He is honest to his own value system, whatever that may be.
Love that.
He has a growth mindset, and he takes responsibility.
And accountability. Let's say that.
Well, this said responsibility. Wait, but we need accountability. But this says this says responsibility. And I thought that some of this data was really interesting because it says only 1% of Black people in America make $100,000 a year or more.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really interesting. Wait, someone said something when I was reading the definition, and you were reading the definition of high value Black man. You know how you go check. Someone said it sounds like my nephew Chris.
Yeah.
But can I tell you my nephew Chris is?
I was looking right at him as you said.
Your other half. But check. But I was really kind of surprised that only 1% of Black people in America make $100,000 a year. I thought it would be a little bit more, but it's only 1%. And then it said of all Americans of all racial hues, only 9%, less than 10% of Americans make $100,000 or more a year.
Yeah.
So I guess that was at first I thought, when I first saw it, I said, but I guess he's kind of onto something. But how this first started out, why he's gained traction was because he counsels men and he counsels women a lot, okay? Mm-hmm. But what really had him gain traction was counseling women and telling women, when they would talk to him, he's on a podcast, and they say, you know what? And I get this. Everybody wants to live a good life, and they think that a high value man may give them that good life. So they ask him in podcasts, well, how do I get a high value man? And oftentimes he'll ask them a series of questions. He'll say, well, what do you do for a living? Well, do you have any kids? Well, what size do you wear, like clothes? And then, well, how much do you weigh? And sometimes after getting those series of questions, he'll tell them with little or no tact, you can forget it. You can't get no high value.
Or what did he say? Buy a dog and die alone?
Or he told somebody, you look like a linebacker.
Good Lord have mercy. It's hard in these streets.
I was like, oh my gosh, the man got no tag. But yeah, he
Well, you know
tells
what I think?
him.
Let me say this. I think going back to the cost of living thing, I mean, $100,000 is a lot of money. But I will say, to me, in order for you to be high value, I would even put that number up a little bit more than that. Because especially in the areas that we live in, Jess, you can speak to it. I mean, that's not going to get you much. You'll be able to live, but it's going to be, you know, more than that. Especially for when you look at that list of what he's saying these women have to offer that man. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm all for being submissive. We were all raised in spiritual backgrounds, and for me, it's about being submissive to whoever has the clearest vision of where you need to go. So with me and my husband,
he has to be a leader. For me to submit, he has to be able to lead.
Well, and whatever he's great at, you know.
Right.
And in some ways, like, and me and my husband, one of the great things about, I think, us, and we're not perfect ever, but like, you know, when he has the clear vision, I follow him. If I have the clear vision, he will follow me. I think that's a blessing, and I think that's kind of cool with the dynamic of high value men and women. But I would say, if you wanted to be, your question is, how can I get a high value man? Is that you have to be a high value woman. You have to have.
But that's what Kevin Samuels is saying, and that's where Ula comes up, because they feel that he's demeaning women. They feel that he's telling them that they don't have enough education, or don't have any education, or they don't. Even though some of the men who I interviewed, and I did interview 4 of them, a lot of them didn't even think about how much money a woman made, which I thought was kind of surprising. These are men that made, I don't know, one made 250, one made close to 4, one made well over 100, and how much a woman made didn't really mean a lot. But the type of woman that they were looking for, she would have to have something going on. You know what I mean? Even if she didn't make a lot, she'd have to run in circles and have something going on. So
I mean, I don't think money matters to a man, or title, or degree.
Money. I don't think money does.
But I think to an extent it does. And I think especially if you're talking about people like Kevin Samuels says that has 2 and 4 kids, like if I'm a high value man who, in my opinion, especially in this era, only makes $100,000 a year, and I have to take care of your 2/4 kids, you're going to look more appealing to me if you're beautiful and have a job and not just depending on me to pay for all your children, even if I am high value. Right.
Even if you're any value, why wouldn't, I mean, that just sounds imbalanced, but that's what people think a lot of times. Yeah. They want to get these men because that's what they want to do. Go to the spa and the health club all day. How realistic is that? To your point, in the Chicagoland area, $100,000 is a lot. I'm not demeaning that or minimizing that, but if you're paying $3,000 for rent and you're paying this for your car and this for this, and I mean, how far does it really go?
Take care. That's what adds up.
You know, so, and perhaps these 100,000 plus a year men are looking for women so they can collaborate and put their money together and really do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But you've been listening to Kevin Samuels. Do you think anything he said was way off mark as far as untrue?
I don't think he's too far off. I think in general, what happens is he's making a very general and broad statement. And I think we can all do that with anything, really. You know, right. If I see, you know, I'll even use, me as an example. If I have me with all of my credentials with no children versus me with all of my credentials without, who would choose someone with a little bit more, unless there was a reason for that, you know? So I get that. And I get if you are a high value person who travels a lot, who's used to kind of doing what you need to do, you don't really want a woman or man or anyone coming into your life telling you what to do. So I can see why being submissive, cooperative it's a good characteristic for anybody, right? Much, you know, it doesn't have to just be limited to marriage or boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever type of relationship. I think even in normal communication, if you're, you know, submissive in a sense of, hey, if you have a great idea, I'm going to submit to that. And I think that's beautiful. Cooperative in a sense of, hey, if this doesn't work, how can we make our ideas come together and collaborate? You know, that's partnership, communication. So I think, you know, what he's saying is true. Yes. 100%. But I think he also is leaving out the idea or the possibility that, if you got it, you got it. You know what I mean? Like if you have a woman, you know, gets in front of this high value man who had an ideal of who he wanted, but this woman is fantastic, has all these different characteristics, something he's never seen before. He's not going to pass that up because you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, you know, if you can take care of him, he can. And I think that's the thing. It's like, you know, we live in a society where women, you know, as amazing as we are, as, you know, especially in a lot of the Black communities where sometimes we're the only ones taking care of these babies, you know, people look down on us, and they put us in this pedestal, this area, not a pedestal. They put us down in this area where it's like you're stigmatized. You know, it's almost like a man will validate you, which I love the ideal of family. But I've noticed it even with some of my friends who are single moms. It's like oh, you're a single mom. It's a stigma, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it could be.
And they look down on you because of that. But I'm like, wow, how amazing is that of a woman who maybe their husband or whatever may have died or left is still taking on the responsibility of her family, right? Like, I think we need to change the narrative. What he's saying is true, but maybe change the narrative to where, you know, we can be inclusive of, you know, what really is going on. Like, no, don't just die and buy a dog and die alone. You know, build yourself up, you know, be the best you can be and bring that forward. And someone's going to love that energy. Someone's going to love you. Someone's going to accept you, your family, yourself, whatever it is, you know? So
and I agree with that totally. Matter of fact, one of the guys who I talked to, he was a brother out of Oakland, and he makes really, really nice money and doing very, very well, and has been doing well a long time. And I asked him about that. I said, well, how do you feel about a woman with kids? And he said, well, I'm over 50 years old and I have 2 kids. I love kids. Why wouldn't I want a woman that had all the traits that I wanted if she had kids? That would not be a breaker. And he said, and you also have to look at a maturity level. You know, some of the guys who I talked to another brother, he was 40, maybe under 40. And I asked him about cheating. I said, well, you know, because you have access to so many women, I've had cheating shows on here a lot of times. Do you think that high value men cheat more? And he said, well, I do. And I said, well, why do you do that? And he said, I do it because I can't.
Well, I think if you have more opportunity, you know, you just have more opportunity. But I think, I mean, you know, I'm not going to get.
But I think because he was young, because I asked the older guy, the 50-year-old guy, the 50-plus-year-old guy, the same question. And he said, Jan, first of all, I got to be really attracted to someone and they have to do blah, 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 blah. But if I'm in a relationship with them, I don't have time to cheat. I'm strategically trying to chase my dream. I'm investing. I'm doing this. I'm working. I'm building my business. I don't have time to be in the streets. So
yeah, sometimes the streets are your secretary, though. You know, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You know what I think?
Yeah.
We have a whole other show on cheating and all that. That's a whole.
And we were going to do that before, remember?
Yeah, I know. We did talk about that.
I know.
That's a whole other thing. And I think, you know, I think that's something that maybe, you know, is a whole other conversation. But I think, you know, those who can will. And I don't think your value necessarily makes that. I mean, there are guys who are, you know, looking really great and they're doing whatever job and they still get it.
Right.
You know, they do whatever. So I don't think the high quality, you know, I think those who can do if they want to. I think that's a high quality man thing or not.
Well, a lot of this probably isn't.
They make it better looking women, you know.
When you think about it, right. But when you think about it, a lot of this isn't because men are doing, and they don't have to make $100,000 a year. And everything that he talks about with the high quality man, the average man with a job, so without a job, are doing the same thing. I mean, think about it. You know, so.
And it's not limited to men either, you know. So it is.
Okay. You know what? We were talking about this when you were here over the summer.
I'm a God-fearing woman, you know. But
I know, but
these streets have men and women in them. I'm just saying.
One of my friends actually brought it up because I thought that, you know, proportionally that men generally cheat more than women. And he said, well, Jan, who do you think these men are cheating with? The same women recycle? I said, I guess. He goes, no.
It's a possibility.
And, you know, when you really talk to people and you really, you know, you don't even have to dive deep, but women are cheating at maybe not the same level, but just about. You know.
Yeah, I mean, because they're working with, you know, it's just, you know, just pray to God that, you know, we're not impacted by that. And, you know, it's just, yeah, next subject.
Keep it moving, right? Okay, and Kevin Samuels also talked about weight. Now, me and you have talked about that too.
Yeah.
A lot of these topics. And I know personally that when a woman gets to a point where she's overweight, not all the time, but sometimes it diminishes her self-esteem.
Mm.
So, and if a high value man, or not even a high value man, any man, if he had a choice between this nice girl who he got along with and she was average size, and this nice girl who he got along with and she was obese, who do you think he picked? I mean, that's just true.
Mm. Or not. My thing is, you know, yeah, I think what we're saying, again, it all comes down to who is right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, like, I think as a person, a guy, girl, whatever, you want to look the best you can so you can feel the best you can so that you don't have to worry about your exterior. You can worry about, what am I saying? How am I, you know, bonding with this person? How can I build this person? Like, if your exterior is all good, you don't have to worry about that, right? But at the same time, if I've seen men, I've been married for 10 years, so, and we've been together really forever, so this has been
You've
a
been
while.
married
But
10
I've
years or
seen
together 10 years?
men who may have been overweight and guys who maybe had a better looking exterior, who the overweight guy had a better personality, was more charming, whatever, So to me, it's not their character, it's more than just the exterior. It's what else do you bring? But what I would say is what's so beautiful is confidence and humbleness. Like
Absolutely.
if you can manage that combo, it's beautiful on a man or woman of any size, color, shape, height, whatever, So, I mean, build yourself, do whatever it takes, whatever you want to do, and just go out there like you're the stuff, because you are. God made you that way,
Absolutely.
and do what you got to do. But yeah, I mean, it's anything, if you have a certain preference for, you could talk about complexion, if you have a girl here with certain complexion that you preference, and a girl has the same thing, she has a different complexion, you're going to, that's how life is. Life is a competition.
Well, people have preferences. And
everyone has a preference. It is what it is.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think generally, in my opinion, and Joyce, I hear you, I think generally high value men and typical men, some men like thick women. That's truth. That's
yeah,
true.
Absolutely.
And you spoke volumes when you said that, what we should really do is focus on being the best that we can be. So if there's something that I need to change and I have control over it, change it, do something about it. Mm-hmm. But I do think, generally speaking, what he was saying about if it's between a bigger woman and an average size woman or a small woman, generally, because they want people that are trophy that they can take around on their arm, they would pick the smaller one, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. Mm. Some other preference and opportunity, men use weight as an excuse. Let me start posting some of these. I'm sorry.
What as an excuse?
Men use weight as an excuse. Oh. If he's into you, the weight doesn't matter. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that men cheat more on bigger women. I'm saying generally, if there's a pool of women and he's at somewhere, they don't go to clubs anymore. But if he's somewhere, he's going to be kind of tuned into more athletic women or smaller women. That's what I said. Sometimes,
if that's their preference. Again,
but I did say some men like thick women.
Yeah.
The weight can be lost. It doesn't create a positive spirit. And someone else said, "What? Women cheat more than." Oh, take that off. Take that off. Take that off. I don't want to see that.
I tell you what, I believe women probably could. I don't think they do.
Miriam, what? You think women cheat more?
I think women definitely could cheat more than men. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think we do.
Not get caught either. You're right.
We do.
But I don't think they do. The woman should choose a smaller man. So Joyce is saying, forget that stomach. If he got a stomach, no, I'm just joking.
Oh my no! It's all about the inside, guys. All about the inside. It really is.
Yeah, well, that's how it should be in a perfect world, and that's how it is a lot of times, because a lot of times when you see couples walking down the street and you're like, man, how did he get her? How did she get him? They seem mixed matched, but they're not even concerned about that, because you know what, looks and weight, now that's going to fade. If you're with a person 30 or 40 years, things are going to change. I'm not saying that they're going to get big or small, but they're going to change, so you have to go for the interior and the exterior anyway.
Yeah, I think the outside is how you usually catch, but how you keep is your spirit, your soul, your character. So
and what you have to do, and what we have to continuously do, is be the best that we can be.
Amen. Preach this.
That spoke volumes. But I thought that it was interesting. Some data. I love data. Then I'm going to try to play this young man's song again. 83% of Black men making over $100,000 marry Black women. You know how you always think that they marry others because it makes them feel like they've reached some kind of level. It also says 85% of Black male college graduates are married to Black women. Generally, 88% of married Black men, no matter what their income is, have Black wives. So generally, about 88 to 90% of the men marry Black women. So I thought that was
who you love who you loved. It is what it is. My thing though is I think that is like I could see that more, but love who you love, man. Like I think at the end of the day, we're all trying to find people to spend our life with. And all that comes down to what's inside. So love who you love. But I think that is a misconception. I think in our community, we assume that these men, our Black men will go and date someone else, which is, if that's what your preference and you do it, whatever, that's you. But I think I think black men like black women. I think it's with that nature for people to like your same. It's, you know,
To
for
like
white
someone
like
who
is white, and it doesn't make you wrong or right if you don't like it or whatever. But it is, and I think that we do. I think unfortunately we have this thing in our society with especially black culture where it's like it's almost like we almost put it like bat each other against each other.
What do you mean?
Like black men ain't this, or black women got attitudes, and it's like, no, like I look at my aunts and we're sweet people. We're so sweet. We're so cool.
You're
and
saying I'm sweet? That's so nice.
Absolutely. Like some sugar, girl, sugar.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that, Joyce, Liz?
And then I look at my dad and my uncles and my husband and my brothers. I'm like, black men are they're the stuff, you know? So like we do love each other, you know? I think it's just like we got to stop looking at the media because the media will mess your mind up.
The media will send you the wrong way.
It'll send you, yeah. And just love everybody, you know? Love is love. It's I don't think that's the thing. I think it's, yeah, we're making a bigger deal out of that than it really is.
You know, and that's an interesting thing that you just mentioned, love whoever you love, because I'm seeing a lot of people being fluid and a lot of people loving same genders. With you being in that 20-some age bracket, you don't have a problem with that, with any of that either, right?
I never dibbled, but
okay.
I say love who you love. My thing is, you know, I think, oh my God, there's so much around that. And I think at the end of the day, it's like I said, we're all trying to find our person. We're trying to find someone to spend the rest of our life with. So, you know, I mean, I have, my friend list is just all, it's like the rainbow, literally colors, genders, religious backgrounds, all of that. Because I believe at the end of the day, we're people. And I think that's why I'm saying, you know, me and you talked about this and looking at the list. He didn't put morals. He didn't put character. You know, like,
we're going to create our
own value if you don't have good character. Matter of fact, I'd scratch everything off this list and put character as the only thing you need, and morals, you know? Right. Like, it doesn't, if you're not a good person, if you don't treat people right, if you're not kind, you know, who are you? Right. You're just a person with money who what's your purpose in life, you know? So, I mean, yeah, I think definitely in our generation, I think it's been around maybe generations past, but, you know, with our millennials, we're coming in and we're, you know, taking over. We're, you know, owning ourselves, owning our rights of what to be as a person, as an American citizen. And we're just doing what we want to do. I think there are some great things with it. There's also some things I think are, you know, kind of interesting that's with it. But yeah, love who you love, do what you do. It's not, who am I to tell you what to do?
That's true. That's true.
Who am I to tell you who to love? I need to worry about who I'm loving and what I'm doing. Worry about yourself.
I love that openness. I love that openness. And you're getting a whole lot of compliments. You're just, you know, sending you all kind of hearts and stuff. Omar said, "I'm so proud of you."
I love
Omar
you.
gives you a little smile. Elizabeth does too. Makiba, your namesake, says yes. I can tell.
I can't even brother. Okay.
Oh, you can't see those.
Well, I can tell you who to sock it to.
He's going way back, right? He's going way back. It's your thing, right? Okay.
Good stuff.
All righty then. So I am going to try to play this young man's song again because I know he wanted me to play it. And I'm going to make an attempt to do it again. Let me know if you can hear it because maybe you can't. I don't know what's wrong with this thing today. Let's try it again. I wonder if they can hear that. Hey, you guys, let me know if you can hear it at all. Anybody can comment. Just let me know if you can hear the song. Oh, they can hear it. Anthony, I hope you're still listening. And that was just a sample of a song by Anthony Porti, and I'm so glad I was able to play it. I told him I would. Sorry, I don't know what happened at the beginning of the show, but just glad I was able to play it now. So let me hide this, and let's go back to our discussion. Miriam, you've always been one of those We Are the World babies. I remember as a little girl. A task. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway. I'm regressing.
I'll never live that down ever.
Okay, now this is an interesting statistic, and I know everyone is saying that the reason for it is for whatever, but divorce rates for people with households over $250,000. Now, we all know what the divorce rate is for the general population. It's almost 50%, right? Mm-hmm. But for people who make over $250,000, it's only 20%. Do you think that has to do with the man's utility, the man's salary, the connections, or all of it? Probably all of the above.
I think what happens is it's cheaper to keep her.
You know what? Wait. That is true. I mean, think about Bill Gates. Let's be
real. It's like,
that's true.
Sometimes it's like this. To me, it's either one or two ways. It's like, man, I got all this money. I don't need her. She can take my money. I don't need him. He can take my money. Or, it's like, man, I can't lose all this. So let's make it work, And I think part of that's that. And a lot of it is like a lot of really busy people too. You're not really around.
And you don't have time.
Not to hate each other. You know what I mean? That's why they saw like during COVID, people were getting divorces. And it was like, man, I didn't know you, but I know you now.
Because I got to be with you every day? No.
I think it's a combination of things. I don't think there's any more necessarily love there or anything. I think it's just a matter of circumstance, Like it's kind of like, you're going to leave one situation to get into a worse situation with the same type of person,
Yeah,
so
I think that
part of that is, hey, would you rather be stressed with a billionaire or with a 10,000-aire?
But I thought money didn't matter, Miriam.
Well, I don't think it does, but I think it's a matter of perception. Like so you gotta understand, like, I'm not a money chaser. That's not me, right? But there are more people in the world who are. So if you're a money chaser, meaning that's the only thing you care about, then why would I go with someone who makes $10,000 versus someone who's a billionaire? If you look at like, what's his name, Donald Trump and Melania, like you can clearly see their chemistry is off. You can see it. I don't know what's going on in the relationship. You never know what's going on in someone's relationship, but like you can see that chemistry is off. But she's there. Why? You think if he was making $10,000?
Think about it. She doesn't have to see him or deal with him. She could be on one side of the world.
So I think it's a combination of things, but it is what it is.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you some of the responses that this guy who I interviewed. He was one of the best ones, I thought. And I guess I'm being prejudiced on this, but I asked him, do you have a preference when it comes to women? And like you, we are the world. I see no color. He just wants them attractive and visually physically fit. Can you name 3 things that turn you off? He said, I can basically, one thing just really turned me off, that snappy attitude. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. Then he said, do you believe all high value men cheat? They all have options. I think I already told you about his response to that. And then I said, do you think many women overrate themselves?
Oh man, stop.
He said,
yes.
He didn't really talk about the women overrating themselves. He said he lived in the Oakland area. And I've never been to North California. You probably have.
Yeah.
I've never been to Oakland. He said that there are beautiful women there. I mean, beautiful.
All over Cali.
But they have 4 priorities. I said, okay. Then I said, what would you tell women out there who want that lifestyle and want to attract a high value man that attracts you? And he said, first of all, you have to be the best that you can be. And one of the ways to do that is look at your senior picture and see how you've regressed. Strive to get yourself together. I said,
good Lord, have mercy, child.
I thought it was interesting. Now, do you know who Sweetie is? The entertainer.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess he was. Kevin Samuels was interviewing Sweetie, and you think she's pretty?
I do. Yeah,
I do too. So he was talking to her, and I guess they were going back and forth. Anyway, he said Sweetie was an adjustable 6, which means she's better than average, but she can go from 6 to being pretty.
Yeah.
Adjustable 6.
Yeah. I don't know. So here's my thing. What? Kevin Samuels, Sleety though, like she's beautiful. So my thing
Wait,
is,
what does he think he is? This is what I was saying. I'm like, you think she's a 6 an adjustable 6? What do you think you are?
Bro, what do you think we are? Like I'm about
Oh
to
my
be
God.
adjustable 2.5. Like, and I'm not. So no, what I'm gonna say is like I don't. You know what I think? It's like Kevin Samuels, and I would love to chat to this guy at some point in my life because I think he's onto something. You know, I think he's trying to tell a certain. I think there are certain characteristics that are naturally feminine that men like. You know, they don't really like a loud talking. You know, talk back. Most people don't like that. You know, so I think he's telling a certain thing. Hey, be more, you know, soft, feminine, and you know all that. And I think that's helpful. But I think some of his like ratings, I can't say I get down with it. Even taking out a 7, like I think a lot of people are 7s.
Yeah, that's his.
A lot of people are actually set. Like it's a real rating because a lot of people are like 7s. You know, like just above 6. You know, but I think I'm not really like even how he kind of rates Beyonce. I think he put her at an 8 or something. My thing is
like Beyonce at an 8.
I think he put her at an 8 or a 9. She
wasn't. Who do you have as a 10?
He said, I think Halle Berry is a 10. I think that's the only one I even remember. He said Kelly Rowland's a 9, Beyonce's an 8, and I think Halle Berry's like a 10. He said there's not a lot of 10s. My thing is though, he said out of the shower without makeup. I'm like, come on, dude. Like that's like saying, let me see you when you didn't go to the barbershop in some sweatpants. Like that's not how you see people or how you like people. Like you like Kelly Rowland because of how she looks with makeup. You like Beyonce
because how she looks with makeup.
You know, like stop. It's part of it. But she's not no 6. I'm sorry. At least not to me. And you know,
I think
that's how his preference is his preference. But I would say to the majority of people, especially those who like, I would say more like ethnic women with fuller features and stuff like that. I would think she would be a little bit more than a 6 in my opinion.
I think so too. I think it's pretty.
Absolutely.
What do you think about plastic surgery and the surge of plastic surgery among Black women?
I think do you. You know, here's my thing. Like I'm so like you have to live in your body. This is the truth. And life is competitive, right? For me personally, I haven't had anything done. Not to say that I would ever not, you know, if I needed whatever, I don't know. I can't say that I would now. I haven't. But to me, it's like if you walk and look in the mirror and you hate something about yourself and you live in
care. I agree.
Fix it.
I agree with. But I'm talking about specifically some of the augmentations they're doing on their butt, on their waist, on their, you know, how they're looking like these little dolls with a little bitty waist.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for me, you know, it's not for me. Like, but you know, we were all blessed with certain assets. So maybe it's like if I grew up without certain assets, I might be insecure about that. You know what I mean?
So then you may want to add that.
So I might want to add it, you know? So you know, part of it is like, you know, I sympathize with those who may not have what I have, or empathize with those who have the same insecurities that I do, you know? Just because I may not want to fix that doesn't mean it's my right to judge you because you grew up insecure with, you know? Like, do what you got to. It's a competitive world out there. I can see why you would want to. I get it, you know? Would I do it? I don't think so. But I haven't made that I haven't been in that position in my life yet, you know? Keep living. You never know what you will or will not do.
And that's what they always told us growing up.
Yeah. But keep living.
Keep living. That may change.
I will not today.
Wait, who is this? Miriam said Miriam is from Cali. So beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Now for our next, because we're talking about having a series on this. So next time we want to bring men on. Maybe 2 or 3 men. What do you think?
However many we feel that we need. It's up to you.
I definitely don't want 1 because I don't want, you know, that single-mindedness. So I at least would want 2 men in here. And then I would want to have the following week with men and women.
That would be awesome.
Sometimes it's not as easy as you think to get them. I mean, you can get them to say something and interview them offline, but to have them come and show their face. So that's something that we're going to have to work on in this next week. Now, let's talk about for a minute before we close out high-value women.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a list at all for high-value women?
I don't. No.
Okay. So if you were to describe high-value women, what do you think you would describe them?
I mean, it's based off of my personal, you know, what I think it is.
Yeah.
I think a high-value woman is essentially a woman who knows what she wants and goes after it. I think that's quite simple. But I think in that, you go after it, not bothering others with your whatever it is that your goal is. So you're not like, I think people are very, very forceful naturally. You're not forceful. You're just kind of in your own lane doing what you want. And I think that's something that naturally attracts people. I think also a woman who, doesn't necessarily depend on any one person to succeed. Now, we all need people. Like, you'll need people in your network. You might, you meet people and they help you through your process. But your goal, you're not looking for another woman or necessarily a man to save you, but they may aid you in your process. And I think that's it. I think generally you have to have character. I think that's big. I think that's almost number one. There has to be something that grounds you, something greater than yourself that you believe in, that makes you be a kind person. You have to, I think that's a strong characteristic. I think morals are big. There has to be things that you will do and will never do. And I know we talked about, things change, but something's got to stay the same. You got to have morals. You got to believe in something. And I think money helps. Education helps. I don't necessarily, I think it helps. I don't know that that's necessarily a characteristic of a high. I mean, I'm sure it is, but in my opinion, I think being knowledgeable of things, understanding the world, being cultured, understanding as much as you can about different cultures and people and the world, that helps. I don't know if you necessarily needed a degree to do that. I don't think Bill Gates needed a degree to be high value. Yeah, that's it.
What it actually has on here is kind of everything that you said. You kind of did a synopsis on it, but this has like 17 traits. And I don't even know if all of them are, I don't know if it has anything about morals, but it says values, loves, and cares for herself, knows that she deserves respect from others, sees the beauty in herself and refuses to let anyone take that away from her. Doesn't tolerate any disrespect or mistreatment from others, advocates for herself and unapologetically speaks her truth, understands that she is worthy of love and will only pursue relationships that she wants, creates a vision for her life and follows it to the best of her ability, has empathy for others, knows how to communicate her needs effectively, is self-aware, is responsible, dependable, and trustworthy, does not care what other people think about who she is or what she chooses to do with her life. Capable of setting healthy boundaries and sticking to them, able to let things go that don't serve her or anyone else, know how to express and show love for others, humbly seeks guidance and help when needed, commits to becoming a better person despite life challenges and adversities. It almost sounds like you. But they really should have put in here that moral fiber part, that moral part in here. It almost sounds like you. I mean, think about all this stuff. When you listen to it, that's a high value woman.
I sincerely appreciate that.
So you guys, you and Chris are really equally yoked, as they say, and I'm waiting for something from him.
He didn't send it? Okay, hold on.
I don't see it.
This is bad for live TV. Hold on.
That's okay.
Let's go. Hey, Chris, can we get a live performance?
We'll do it better next week. And
maybe next week.
I don't know what this audio thing is, but I definitely got to clear that up. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know what that is.
You want to do next week, or you want me to see if he can send it now?
Can he send it now? Because
let me see. Hold on a second. I might be able to send it because he sent me something. Hold on.
Okay, what we're trying to do, as everyone knows who listens to the show, I really like to play new music by new independent artists. And I was going to spring the surprise on you, but her husband is not only, a high value man, he's also an artist. So, this is what he does as his hobby. This is, well, I don't know, it may morph into something else. But I'm waiting for him to send me something so I can play it. I also see Khalid on here. Khalid put, and I'm letting it show, high values, femininity.
I just sent it.
Morals, virtuous, charitable, intellectual, wealthy, honest, and a healthy outlook, which is kind of the same thing that they kind of split it out in 17 characteristics. Khalid kind of broke it down. He is, I don't even know what all the alphabet he has behind his name, but I know he's an NSW and all this other stuff. So maybe Khalid, I'm putting it out here. If you're still listening, you can be one of our panelists when we pull the men in here. Think about it, talking about high value men. He's a friend of Voices of Change, so I'd love for him to be it. Miriam, since you're kind of doing co-host duties, and I got to pull this thing up. You talk.
I can't. So it's going fuzzy again. It's fuzzy.
No.
I know what it is.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to,
Huh?
really multitask. Oh yeah. You sure did.
I sent it. It's fuzzy. I can barely hear you, but it's going in and out.
Oh, this thing is making me drink. Okay, let's see.
Oh, it failed. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a
It did
second.
what? What did you do, Miriam? Okay. I want you guys to, what does everybody have planned for Christmas? Since we do have a few minutes left and I'm waiting to try to cue up this song. You're there? Good, Khalid. Yay! I'll talk offline. Anyway, let me know what you're doing for Christmas. Put something in the comment and let me know what you're doing for Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, let me know what you're doing with the time off. If you're so inclined to send me a comment. Did you send it again?
I did.
What happened to it?
Let's try for next time because for some reason he sent it, but it didn't show up. So let's try.
Oh. Okay, well, next time we'll have it ready and we'll kick it off with that. We will kick it off with that. Well, Miriam, do you have anything to, we're getting ready to close out the show. You have anything to say? You can certainly say it to the listening audience. Love you.
Oh, I love you guys. One thing I could say, guys, here's my thing. We have these all what a high value man is, what a high value woman is. At the end of the day, just try to be your best self. I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do is be our highest self. Find something to believe in that's greater than yourself. Find something that makes you want to work every day that you love. And just try to be your best self. And I think all these things will kind of come in line. But always be kind. And that's it.
Always be kind. Oh, that's sweet. Always be kind. And I have one small thing to say about the high value man. I know everyone's talking about it, and everybody think they want someone making $100,000 plus. But what you really want, I mean, money's good. But if you have a hardworking person who'll work, and if you work, you can have anything you want anyway. If they're a good person, committed, they have values, they have morals, it's good to always seek. But like Miriam said, it's even better to find someone that's more compatible with you, that has the same moral fiber that you do. As old people used to say, and I say there's a generational gap between us, we would say that you're equally yoked. When you find someone like that, that's committed to you, that's loyal to you, you've struck gold with that. You've struck gold with that. When I was dating, when I was young, like Miriam, and dating, they didn't call them high value men, but we all knew that there were men that made a whole lot of money. And I always found it kind of frustrating to date those kind of men because I found them being full of themselves and they felt like you should be happy to be with me. And I dated this one guy and he was like a postmaster in a different city. Anyway, he made a lot of money too. And he bought me a dress and we went to an event. And I'm thinking, okay, this is nice. That was nice. But then when we went to the event and everyone said, oh, that looks so great on you, so great on you. He said, well, I bought it. I was done. But anyway, keep in mind that you want to find someone who is equally yoked to you that has the same value system. As long as he's hardworking, that's all. As long as he's hardworking, because if you work and he works and you're hardworking, you have everything you want. But if he happens to be high value, I'm not knocking that either. Okay, so
character, fix your character, people. This world, we need to fix our characters. Characters, everything.
We really do, because this world is changing. But now we are going to listen to this final song, and this is from a past guest of Voices of Change. This is a song that it's a Christmas song, but it's a house Christmas song. I'm going to send you guys off with a house Christmas song, and you guys be blessed and have a very merry, great Christmas.
We're gonna have a merry Christmas. And if you're lucky, your family.
Oh, God. Khalid thinks he's married to Janet Jackson.
But it's the most wonderful time of the year. Sharing, caring, and sharing. Yes, they do. We are. It's the time of year. Friends and family are here, and they do what they do. Come take a sleigh ride with me. I'm so sure you will see that you were meant to be with me. Meant to be with me, the baby. Oh, my. Gonna you could take my hand, just let me be your man. And baby, will you marry me this year? Could be the year for you and me. A girl for you and a boy for me. We could have a perfect family as we carol around the Christmas tree.
Everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. Miriam, you know how I feel about you. I will be talking to you, Chris. We'll get it together for next week. And this audio, I'm going to contact them.